Okay, today for those of you that have been following the distressed Radicon robot teardown rebuild, this is what happened to it in the end. Basically that picture in the background, which I think I probably should close in on a little bit, so hang on, I'm going to scooch closer. We can talk about that for just a second. Let's move you out of the way. Okay. So basically, Ozzy's Robots here on YouTube sent this distressed Radicon, and he wanted it built up to look like this artwork, prototype concept artwork. I'd seen years and years ago, but the version I'd seen was in black and white, and this one I think has been colorized. But as you can see, they were going to do a Radicon, but the chest piece was much smaller instead of being boxy like the actual production toy. That gave him more room to put the word Radicon Robot right on the front and some artwork up on the upper chest. We had to change that because we were working from what was left of an original rusty Radicon. And they kind of drew in some detail pieces that they wanted on the shoulders and the eyes. Of course, the Radicon, the color combination in the chest, and kind of artistic concept type stuff there. All right. So that's what influenced saving this poor old guy. So if you followed all the videos, you know that there's basically a spark gap transmitter, a Cohere Detector tube down on the base, which controls a mechanical 6-step sequencer. Right now it's in step number 1, which means if I turn the switch on, we'll get an idiot light in the chest, but nothing else should happen. And then every time that it receives a signal, the Cohere Detector energizes this meter relay, which then turns on the sequencer. The sequencer advances 1 step, drops a hammer on the Cohere Detector, which resets it to open circuit, so it stops at that sequence till it receives into the command. Once that sequence is started, there's a motor-driven base, which whenever that motor is on, the arms will be moving back and forth, the wheels will be driving it forward, the ear up here will be spinning around, as well as this long transmitter antenna. As you can see, it goes way up there, and it's important to the operation of the robot. All of that stuff turns, just, you know, the arms moving and everything else. The 2 front wheels control the steering of the robot, which changes as the sequencer goes into the next 5 steps after the first one. So let's put it down on the floor and take a look at all of that. Let's see if I move this over here and shoot you guys maybe like that. And stick it over in the doorway. There. Let's see if all of that stuff's in frame. Okay, the robot's there. You can see the transmitter's here. Let's turn the power on. The blue light on the chest is a power indicator. So since it can sit idle, I guess the kid wouldn't walk away and leave it on and during the 1 D cell that's on while it's in this mode. There's 3 batteries in there. 1 battery is for this Cohere Detector and meter movement, and the other 2 batteries run the motor that do all the functions that I just described. And then this is the transmitter. Actually produces a spark, and the antenna off the spark gap comes from there. So that's step 1, which is forward, moving arms, flashing eyes. Here's step 2. Turn to the right. Let's do another steps back forward again. Another step's going to be left, but running out of room there with a chair. And now you're off screen where you can't see what's going on. So I had to rush and push the button to stop it. But you get the idea. Basically, you've got this sequence 1 where it's off waiting for a signal. Sequence 2 is forward. Sequence 3 is going to turn to the left. Sequence 4, it's back forward again. Sequence 5, you're going to the left. 6 forward, and then you're back to 1, which is off. So that, let's set it back up here. So that is your functions. And if you followed all the different videos on this, you'll see how I had to go in and repair everything and clean everything, and it was never going to be a valuable collector as a Radicon because of the severe rust and corrosion damage, even though I was repairing everything to mechanically and electronically to get it work again. So I think that's why he wanted to go for the prototype look, just so we'd have something that kind of looked that way. Let's fly over there. So we tried to emulate as much as possible what was seen in the original. Like I say, they had more room in the chest because they were able to, in this drawing or conceptual artwork, let's call it, make that chest piece much smaller. Whereas here you can see it's much taller. And because the lights were going to be prone to burn out, and it's almost impossible to keep tearing it down every time a bulb burns out. For example, the original light in the chest was burned out. I did replace those with LEDs, so that should last much longer. And even the flashing eyes ended up being LEDs.